This is the Sunday stream opening song because the other song is copyrighted. La 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 la. Oh look, here comes Dog Cat Fox.
Hi, Sky.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday stream, the stream I do on Sundays because Sunday is the day to stream on Sundays. Hope you're all doing well this beautiful Sunday morning. It is bright and clear and freezing outside, but hey, whatever. It's still winter. I hope wherever you are at least warm, even if the outside is not, or if it's too warm outside, that you're cool on the inside. And you're all cool because you watch my streams. Boy, that just flowed real well, didn't it? Almost like I planned it, and I didn't. I'm so creative. Anyway, who's joining me on this beautiful Sunday morning? Matt Barnes, Rotten Corpse, Dr. Funkenstein's Ghost, Noah Asensio, Somnamnul Nation, Funtime Bats, Keever Dam. Who else is here? Let's see. Mike R. Did I say Mike R, Matt Barnes, all these M names. You guys trying to throw me off or something? And Maddie's House of Geek. Good morning. Brett Ide. Good morning. Who else is here? Ryan R, Blakester, Pixie, not Larry. Well, I'll make sure I don't make that mistake. Shadowclaw, Resolute Germ, Megan Ring, and I think that's everybody I see. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, good morning, and I hope you're having a good Sunday morning. Oh, Simon Willikins, good morning. Mike Savage, Blarg, Brittany Holland, good morning. So today I have a potpourri. I have a bit of a mix because I found a whole bunch of little things that caught my eye. And the first one is there's a company out there called FTI Consulting. I'd never heard of them before, but apparently they've been around since 1982. And reading from the Wikipedia page, they are one of the largest financial consulting firms in the world and consistently ranks as one of the top global management consulting firms. FTI stands for Forensic Technologies International, and it was originally meant to provide expert witnesses for litigation and to provide visual presentations to demonstrate complex technical issues for juries. And then between 1982 and now, it has transmogrified itself into one of the largest financial consulting firms. And if you go to their website right now, their top headline is about diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Apparently, there is no equity at FTI Consulting because I think equity is a financial term they may not want to guarantee their clients. But yes. But yesterday, or in the last couple of days, FTI Consulting posted six brief promotional videos highlighting their DINB team. So I have 6 1-minute, 30-second videos linked together that each profile a member of their DINB team with different questions therein that they are asked off camera and then they answer, that kind of thing. And so I just thought, well, I'll just combine these into one block and let's learn about FTI's DINB team. I have to train myself to say DINB because usually I'm saying DEI or DEIB, or in my hope of hope, someday it'll be DEBI and everybody will just love Debbie. But there's that. Now, since that only creates about like 9 some odd minutes worth of video to watch, I also found something else that struck my brain for a different reason. And that is a segment from a morning show, I'm assuming, that is broadcast out of Seattle about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think in the workplace, we'll find out. And I was just thinking, because whenever I hear Seattle now, two things come to my mind. First, there was a documentary that was done and was went viral, I think, back in like 2018 or thereabouts. It was a documentary called Seattle is Dying, or Is Seattle Dying, something like that. And it was this bleak portrait of that town and what's been going on in that town because of the people that are running it. And that links back into what happened during the Summer of Love and Chaz and Chop, if you remember that from a couple of years ago. And so whenever I see Seattle, I think absolute disaster area. And so when I saw that there's this news thing about diversity, equity, and inclusion out of Seattle, I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear what brilliant thinking is coming out of Seattle on that subject, given its recent history. So I've smushed all these together into one video. And so first we'll see the 6 segments from the DI&B team from FTI Consulting. And then we'll see the full segment from the New Day. That's the name of the show, New Day. Now, a couple of editorial notes. In the little promotional segments from FTI, I did cut out their little musical cues at the beginning and in the middle where the little questions come up on the PowerPoint cards. So there will be moments of silence during the course of those things that will, they'll all start off quiet, and then you'll hear the person talk, and then it may cut out the music again. But of course, I'll be providing my commentary along the way, so it will never be completely silent, because dead air is the one thing you want to avoid when doing broadcasting. That's what I've learned. That's why I just keep talking, even if I have nothing to say. It's a professional skill. So that's what we've got. I smushed together a little smorgasbord of video clips, and we're going to learn something first about FTI Consulting and their DI&B process or team. A couple more hellos here that I can get in. A2P, good morning. And that might have been everybody that showed up in the meantime. Well, either way, here we go, guys. The whole video smushed together is about 15 minutes, so this might be a relatively short Sunday stream. We'll see. And if you get tired of me, well, I think Ranting Monkey is broadcasting right now as well, because Ranting Monkey doesn't care about other people's schedules. That's fine. We're friends. It's okay. Anyway, I'll start off with a few seconds for sound test. Let me know if you can hear it. It'll be a minute until we get to the person speaking, and then we will proceed. Oh, by the way, this is Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Team, and our first speaker is Jenny Ericat? I don't know. What does DI&B mean to you?
To think about everything that makes us who we are, and really being open to other people's perspectives, their thoughts, their experiences, and providing a safe space where everybody feels that they belong.
Okay. I mean, that's abstract and friendly enough, I suppose. Everything that makes up who they are. It's so generic. I don't know what to say otherwise. Oh, okay. A safe space. Yeah. How important is DI&B to the culture of a company? Well, it's at least important enough that FTI has decided to make a whole team around it and advertise themselves as being so invested in it. So I guess also it's important to the culture of the company because so many other companies effectively require you to have a diversity, equity, and or inclusion program going on in your company if they will do business with you. One of the greatest examples being Goldman Sachs, who effectively mandated that companies that they work with have at least one woman on their board of directors, amongst other things. Not a woman necessarily that's qualified for the job, just a woman. Holy cats, what do we have here? First off, Matt Barnes, thank you so much. God damn it, Monkey will have to wait. I can't be in 2 places at once. Well, you could have 2 tabs open at once. You know, you can technically be in 2 places at once, 2 chat boxes going on at the same time at once. You could do that. A2P, thank you so much. It's very generous of you with a samurai dog cat fox hugging a trophy. I don't think I've seen that one before, but dog cat fox. Oh, dog cat fox.
Well.
That one always cracks me up. I can never thank Tailed Feature enough for recording that for me, and that was entirely his doing. It's just that always makes me smile. Thank you, A2P, so much. I got to use that one in limited doses, though. If I use it too often, it's going to take away the effect. But once in a while, and see, I only have them marked as like tailed 1 and tailed 2, and I never remember which one it is. So I just click on one, and it's a coin flip as to whether or not I'm going to get that one. But man, when I do. Anyway, thank you, A2P, and thank you, Matt Barnes. Okay, how important is DI&B to the culture of a company? I don't know. You tell me. Anytime now.
The importance of DI&B to the culture of a company
Yes.
is that it is the company.
No, it is not the company. The company is the people that work there, the product that's being, or product or service that's being provided. And then if you want to get like literal, it's the building and the chairs and the systems and all that stuff. But okay, unless you want to expand on that.
DI&B is the fabric of FTI.
DI&B is the fabric of FTI. I thought financial services and consulting was the fabric of FTI. I may have made a poor decision here because I have a feeling I'm not going to get too much explanation or details from our speakers on these things. What is FTI Consulting doing to diversify its candidate pool? Ooh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, what would they be doing? What have I learned from my years of DEI study and consideration? Let's see. How about recruiting from historically black colleges? How about hiring where people are? How about creating a workforce that reflects the communities we serve? Do you think any one of those three or slight variants thereof will be her answer? Let's find out. Again, I haven't watched any of these, so this is me just reading the tea leaves. Come on.
So one of the things that we do in talent acquisition to diversify our candidate pools is think about what do we want our workforce to look like, be like, and be able to drive value home to our clients.
Okay. I mean, yeah, look like. Okay, so even though we're probably not going to get too much detail on this, your first consideration is aesthetic. Aesthetic. Not talent, not education, not skills, abilities, perspectives, and so on, but aesthetic.
We then take those thoughts and information and use that to drive our strategies for where to go to recruit our talent.
Where do you go? Could you give us an example on how to recruit to create the right look for your company? Of course not.
One example that I can give you is our partnership with the Forte Foundation.
But what? Oh, okay. So I was showing you one example. Okay. Can you tell us about FTI Consulting's recent partnership with Forte? I've never heard of the Forte Foundation. What is the Forte Foundation? Will she tell us? I hope so.
One of the reasons we're really excited about this partnership is because Forte, their mission is to get more women leading.
Great. Well, hell, I mean, if that is the bar you have to jump, then yeah, okay. Get more women leading. Just because they're women? Are they qualified to lead? Do they want to lead? How's that working out for you?
That aligns perfectly with our goals. So not only are we trying to recruit women to FTI, we're trying to engage them and develop them up through the leadership ranks.
Because they're women. Okay, so at least by implication, if not by explicit confession here, FTI is a sexually discriminatory company. Well, I mean, that's one way to start off the series. All right, so that's experts with impact. Yes, I'm sure there's a lot of impact going on here. All right, well, that's video number 1 from our first team member from the DI&B team at FTI. ABC 1, 2, 3. So then we have some silence for another second or 7 here. And then we'll get on into our second speaker. And our second speaker is Crit Tucker. Crit. I say that word, and I'm suddenly taken back to my tabletop role-playing days. All right. Lead recruiter, DINB. Oh, what does DINB mean to you? Let's find out.
In my work life, it means that I can show up authentically myself with my full sleeve of tattoos, being a queer individual, and to be able to bring my best foot forward, because I know when I show up authentically, I'm giving my best, which means I'm going to perform at my best.
Your tattoos and who you like to sleep with have nothing to say about your abilities in your job. And what if the company required you to cover up your tattoos? I mean, I suppose that'd be a company you wouldn't want to work for. I remember it wasn't that long ago, and I remember this because I had friends who worked there, that Starbucks would not allow people with tattoos to display their tattoos. And so you saw all these people either wearing long sleeve shirts. There was one guy, he wore like an armband because he just had a tattoo on his upper arm. And he just kept wearing this armband all the time, and I couldn't quite understand what it was. And I thought it was some kind of like memorial or something, because it was like, I think it was like a dark color. I don't know if it was black, but I thought somebody had died. And then I can't remember if it was either me or someone I was with asked him what was up with the armband. Maybe a little rude, but anything is like, oh, we're not allowed to show our tattoos here. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I finally understood what that meant. And then that policy changed seemingly overnight at one point, and then all of a sudden it's like it didn't matter. But anyway, showing up authentically means showing your full sleeve of tattoos. And okay, why bring your sexuality into the workplace? What does that have to do with anything? That's the one aspect of DEI recruiting and everything that I'm always curious about whenever advocates or consultants for it bring up orientation. Because I'm always morbidly curious to know, how does that conversation go in the interview process? When does that become something you inquire of your coworkers or your potential employees? Like, hey, so when you're at home and you're by yourself or with somebody else, maybe, what kind of person do you like to be between the sheets with? That's like a lawsuit waiting right there, don't you think? Can you tell us about FTI Consulting's diverse professionals rotational program? So is it like just like cross training? I mean,
we've had a couple years now under our belt, and it's an amazing program that I run here, where it opens doors of opportunities for people to not only understand what is consulting, but have the opportunity to rotate between different segments and maybe find a passion that you didn't know you had. So
cross-training. Okay, fairly standard in a lot of companies, but whatever works for you, I suppose. Thank you, Matt Barnes. I have tattoos. I have my own business. I have them in places a t-shirt will cover. It's a matter of choice for me, but I prefer a professional appearance. Isn't it the company's choice? Yeah, no, it's the company's choice. I'm just quite not sure what showing up authentically means, having to show off your tattoos. I think like it means nothing to me unless your tattoos are trying to tell me something about yourself that is strange or weird. I guess if they're putting out a message that I wouldn't want people to read in the workplace, I guess it would depend on the individual situation. But simply being able to show off your tattoos means you're showing up authentically. This whole authenticity thing, I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to mean. What am I supposed to tell from your tattoos? What message am I supposed to get? What am I supposed to know about you? You have tattoos. Yeah, and as for myself, I have 5 tattoos. They're all relatively small. I don't have any sleeves or anything, and they're all easily covered up by just normal clothing for the most part, because it's not something I'm trying to express to the world or show off all the time or something. It's just things for me, little reminders, little, stuff. And my not showing it is me showing up as authentically as if I wore a short sleeve shirt. And you did see a couple of my tattoos. Like what? Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. To each their own, as far as I'm concerned. My question is, what does that mean, showing up authentically with your tattoos? And what does your personal sexual life have to do with your workplace? Especially in financial consulting.
Our year one, over half of the employees that we hired actually selected a different segment than what they originally thought that they would select.
Okay, so again, you did cross-training and you did professional development, and people found different areas where they had better strengths than others. Okay, what does that have to do with D, I, and B? That is, you could have a company from 30 years ago that never even heard of a DEI initiative doing cross-training, and the exact same thing would have happened. I mean, good for your employees. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad initiative or anything, but what does that have to do with this? What progress has FTI Consulting made to increase diverse representation? Oh, okay. Yes, tell me, how have you represented?
We've made a lot of progress through employee resource groups like FTI Win and Pride, which I'm a part of.
Oh, employee resource groups. Yes, I love ERGs. They're my favorite internal discriminatory segregation tools for company success. Wait, which one are you a member of again? Sorry, let me back up a little bit. Make sure I get this.
We've made a lot of progress through employee resource groups like FTI Win and Pride, which I'm
FTI Women and Pride, or FTI Women in Pride? Okay.
a part of.
Yeah.
But also just actively listening to our employees. What do we still need to do, and what do we need to change to continue to increase?
But increase representation? Okay, you're not going to tell us exactly what that means or what that does. Okay. What is the number one question candidates ask about FTI Consulting's DI&B program? All right, well, I don't know. Tell me. The number one question.
Really ask directed questions, and they're not afraid to ask these questions anymore. They'll ask, what does the representation look like at senior management level?
What does the representation look like at senior management level? Well, the appropriate answer would be a team of experienced and educated professionals who are talented in financial consulting and have years of expert experience and know-how. That's what the answer ideally should be. You're going to highlight their merit, right? Their professionalism, their expertise. That's the kind of representation I would want to see at senior management. You know, competent individuals, right?
And so I always love to show the diversity at the top video, which does show that 5 years ago, our senior management was only 7% diverse, and now it's up to 40%. So again, we're still on the journey and we're not perfect, but it is a huge increase.
Yeah, it's a huge increase in, I'm assuming, racial and or gender discrimination. I mean, we're only X% diverse people. Oh, okay. What qualifies someone as a diverse person? This is the question I've said this before. I always want to ask consultants or advocates for DEI. Please describe for me the elements that make up a non-diverse person. What makes someone not diverse? They say things like this just so casually, right? Just so offhandedly. But you actually stop and think about what the implications are of what they're saying, and it starts getting really murky real quick, doesn't it? Anyway, let's move on to our third team member at FTI's DI&B, Shakara Brooks. And she's out of Washington, D.C. Okay, so we have people from all over the country. The last lady was from Portland. Now we have Washington, D.C. I think the company is based or headquartered in Washington, D.C. Okay. How important is DI&B to the culture of a company? All right. But let's see if she got the memo where she says it is the company. It's the fabric of the company. Let's see if it's the same answer.
Companies that are diverse perform better and are more innovative.
Oh, okay. Just because they're quote unquote diverse. Well, if our previous examples have told us nothing, and they really haven't so far, diverse just means aesthetic. Okay, so not talking about talent, not talking about experience, not talking about education, just on the aesthetic side of things. If you're more diverse, you are more innovative and more profitable. Would you like to show us some evidence of this? correlation and causation of this?
Because each person brings a different perspective to the table and ultimately helps us serve our clients better, thus leading us to commercial excellence.
Yeah, except that you guys aren't actually leaning into perspective or talent or skill. You guys are saying that, but it keeps coming back to look and aesthetic and non-determinative factors of someone's makeup towards their merit in a job. That's the problem. You say one thing, but then when you actually talk about what you're doing, it comes back to something completely surface level. Oh boy, what are employee resource groups, ERGs, and how many does FTI Consulting have? Oh yes, all right. Tell us how you have diversified your workforce down to the most common denominator elements of their makeups, as though that says something about their ability or their inherent shared experiences. Please tell us how many.
So employee resource groups are voluntary, employee-led groups that foster diversity and inclusion in the workplace, and they're also in alignment with the organization.
If I choose not to participate in one of those, is that a message to the company that I'm not pro-diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and therefore might be a problem actor? Is it a mark against me if I don't join one of these things? Just curious.
At FTI, we currently have 8 ERGs, and they are all inclusive, and you are more than welcome to join anyone that you would like.
Whoa. 8? But you're not going to tell us what they are. They're all inclusive. Okay, well, I'm going to look it up real quick. FTI Consulting ERGs. Can I get a list of their ERGs by any chance? I mean, I would love to. Let's see. Okay. FTI Consulting, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, meet our people. I think I am currently meeting your people. Where are your ERGs? ERGs? Okay, how about I try this? How about I try actually typing in the whole employee resource groups. Employee resource groups, do you have those listed somewhere? Surveys. Our employee resource groups. There we go. Wait, no, I don't want the cookies. I just want the, all right, here we go. FTI Win. FTI Win is the Women's Initiative. Okay. Then we have FTI Pride Network. Okay, so first it's gender, then it's orientation. Next we have RISE, Race, Identity, Social Equity. Okay, RISE stands for Race, Identity, Social Equity. RISE Network is based on the principle that diversity can develop different ideas and opportunities to better serve our clients. The network functions as a platform that encourages dialogue on cultural and ethnic diversity and supports all employees in the EMEA region. I don't know what that means. Is this correct? FTI? Yeah, okay. There's only 3 listed here, if that's correct. Okay, she said 8. I only see 3. So maybe there's a web page somewhere else that has it. Anyway, yeah, so far we have gender, sexual orientation, and skin color. Those are the 3 that I'm aware of. Boy, oh boy, sounds great. Sounds great. Anyway, as a new member of the DINB team initiatives, wait, what? Oh, what initiatives are you most excited about? Yes, what are you excited to get going in this DINB process? And by the way, yeah, I'm just looking at Resolute Germ in the chat. All inclusive if you fit the group profile. Yeah, all inclusive for what? The women's initiative or the women's ERG? If I'm not a woman, does it make any sense for me to join the women's ERG? If I'm not, if I'm anything other than straight, let's put it that way, does it make any sense to join the Pride ERG? I mean, or am I then just an ally? Maybe then I'm just an ally. I'm relegated to a lower societal status at that point. Maybe that's it.
I am super excited for our ERGs to expand a little bit more. They provide a safe space for all of our employees and drive the culture at every organization.
Drive the culture how? A safe space for what? If you're divvying up your workers on the basis of the most high-level aesthetic or element of their makeup without anything focusing on talent or professional development or anything else, what do they do? I guess that would be my question. Just simply having these groups as an existing element of your company is one thing, but what do they actually do? What advantage do they provide to the company? Is the time I spend on an ERG reimbursed to me by the company? Am I paid for that time? You said it was volunteer. So am I having to spend this time outside of company hours to the benefit of who? I mean, it's effectively one giant PR move by the company. Look how diverse we are. Look how supportive we are. Look how we allow you to bring your whole self to work, et cetera, et cetera. So if I'm part of an ERG, is that a separate paycheck? And what exactly am I providing to either the company or to the, I don't know, outer community at large with company resources? That's what I'd like to know about what the ERGs do. And not just for this company, for most companies that I've looked at that say they have ERGs. Also, because I forgot to say so, as I always seem to do, at the top of the chat box, if you guys will take a moment to look at the fundraisers helpfully provided to us by Keeverdam for our friends Moonshock and Angry Illinoisian. Both of them have experienced some serious medical, I guess, disasters, let's just say, in recent years. And they and their families could certainly use the assistance if you have a couple of bucks to throw their way. If you can't, perfectly fine. But if you could share those links out on social media, if you're able, that would also be appreciated. So thank you so much. All right. You previously worked in talent development at FTI Consulting. Okay, I guess she did. How did that role prepare you for your new role on the DINB team? Talent development, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Now let's see how these worlds collide.
So my previous role on talent development prepared me in a few different ways.
Uh-huh.
So learning and development is a very important part of moving the needle forward in any company's diversity goals. You need to know how to train your staff on important topics like inclusive leadership, addressing microaggressions, and overall diversity and inclusion. And
Whoa. Increasing diversity in the workplace is an aesthetic consideration first and foremost. What is the company's diversity goals? By what metrics do they measure? What metrics do they use to tell if they've reached their diversity goals? I mean, so far we've been told it's about women, orientation, look of the workforce. So I would love to know, what are FTI's diversity goals? Have they met them, or what are they doing to meet them? But okay, you're talking about talent and skill and everything else has nothing to do with what the company's focused on so far, or what the 3 ERGs I can find are focused on.
Microaggressions and overall diversity and inclusion, and what that means at FTI.
That doesn't mean anything. And I understand that these, sort of snack size bites of information from our speakers aren't probably going to tell me all that much. But sometimes you just have to take what the company wants the world to know and just take it for what it is. Each one of these videos was produced by this company. This is what they want the world to know about their DINB initiative. So that's what I have to work with. Anyway, moving on to our 4th speaker. Yes, I think. This is Natasha Strickland, and she is the global DINB leader, in Washington, D.C. All righty. Looking forward to it. What does DINB mean to you? It's not the fabric of the company, is it?
It actually requires a focus on each aspect of that acronym.
Oh.
We cannot have diversity without inclusion.
Yes, you can. They're 2 completely different concepts. You can have diversity without inclusion. You could have a whole bunch of different looking people in your company, and only 5 of those people actually make the decisions. Like most companies.
We have to get used to, and bringing people in, giving them a seat at the table.
Why? Have they earned a seat at a table? What table? Is there like a big kids table and a grown-ups table and a little kids table? I mean, just being on a table, does that make it better?
Giving them opportunities, thinking about the problem a little bit differently. And that creates a culture where people feel comfortable to say, I can try this.
Yes. Well, like I said, cross-training, job shadowing, that kind of thing in a company, so that somebody who works in department A has an idea of what somebody does in department B and how those things fit together, especially if you have a large company and people don't communicate cross-departmentally a lot. That can be a very good thing. Has absolutely nothing to do with DI and B, but unless you want to just, sort of retrofit it into being DI and B, I suppose. Anyway, how important is DI and B to the culture of a company? Well, given the fact that I'm assuming you're pulling a paycheck on the basis of this thing existing in the first place, I'd assume you think it's pretty important.
What it does is it allows people to really stretch. They get opportunities for career development.
Why? What does this do specifically that is different than any other internal hiring or training process in average company for career development or opportunities? What does this do differently than the classic models prior to the whole DEI or DI&B craze that's happened in the last 10, 12 years or so?
They get opportunities to come to work, happy every day.
You have the opportunity to come to work happy every day. That's probably one of those like motivational posters that's up on the wall in the break room. I have the opportunity to be happy every day. I have that opportunity. Am I required to take it? Or do I just have to fake it? What?
Knowing that they're not going to be overlooked for opportunities that they're just as qualified for.
Qualified? Knowing they're not going to be overlooked. Well, what if I haven't made any effort to seek out such opportunities? Is this where we get equity coming in, where you end up putting people in the same spots as other people, even if they don't necessarily deserve to be there? I don't know. I don't know what that means, and we're not going to find out. What are your short-term and long-term goals for FTI's consulting DI&B program? Do you think she'll give us any numbers? I don't know. Hope so. We'll find out.
So my short-term goals includes expanding our ERGs, our employee resource groups.
Oh, good. Again, I love ERGs. They're just so fascinating to me. Internalized employee segregation is just an amazing concept to me. So yes, I hope you expand them. I hope you list them all. So far, I only know about the 3 that focus on gender, orientation, and skin color. What are the other 5?
Our employee resource groups are super impactful.
Super impactful. Super impact. Is one of them a veterans ERG by any chance? If you listed off the ERGs just offhandedly, would the veterans one come at the end, I wonder?
In advocating for different policies and programs, and helping people to feel connected.
Feel connected by splitting them up along biological or racial lines, or personal, like, sex life lines, that kind of thing?
Long term, of course, with a continued focus on having intentional conversations.
Ooh, intentional conversations? Or are those like courageous conversations, Glenn Singleton? I love intentional, courageous, difficult, awkward conversations.
Even if it's a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Holding our businesses accountable to our existing metrics.
Oh, you have existing metrics? Holding them accountable? Oh, what are your existing metrics? Now, see, this is the stuff that just gets mentioned, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to get specifics. What are your existing metrics? What numbers are you hoping to hit? What percentiles? right? Because the earlier lady, she talked about how the executive team or whatever where she worked was only 20% diverse at one point. Now it's 40% diverse. What are your racial and or gender quotas that you're aiming for?
Expanding our goals will create more opportunities for attraction in the marketplace. Retention of employees here will increase our retention rates and absolutely create a culture of belonging.
You're sure about that? Absolutely will. Okay.
That's my long-term strategy.
I don't know if that's a strategy so much as well. Okay, I mean, depending without more details, I don't know. But I would love to know what their metrics are. I would love to know what their internal metrics are for how they're going to tell when they've hit these goals. And then, consequently or accordingly, by what method or methods do they employ to reach those goals? All right, on to what are we at now? Number 5? Let's see. This is Rachel Graham, lead recruiter DINB in London. Hello, governor. The British are coming is in the chat. So this one's for you. Because here they are, I think, maybe. Can you talk about some of FTI Consulting's diversity recruiting goals in the EMEA region? All right, I saw that earlier on their website. What is an EMEA? I don't know what that is.
Our ultimate goal at FTI is for better representation for women and ethnic minorities.
Better representation for women and ethnic minorities. Okay, well, you're the first one to be very explicit about it. So how do you reach that goal in your recruiting? What decision point must be included in your hiring and recruitment process to achieve that goal? I'd love to hear the answer.
For example, for gender imbalance, we have a goal of 50% of women at consultant and senior consultant level to address any imbalances we have at the senior level.
Oh, okay. So you have a gender quota. So when hiring or recruiting people for positions at the senior level or internally promoting people to the senior level, your first question is, what are their genitals? That's the first thing you have to decide. Even if there's someone more qualified, they lose out if they don't have the right genitals. Okay, well, I mean, I'm glad to hear some clarity on this. All right, so 50% gender parity in senior roles. All right. Okay, well, I mean, she was the first one to give us both a goal based on a percentile and by implication exactly how you achieve that goal. Great. And so I have to also assume that there is a percentile for ethnic minorities and likewise a similar discriminatory practice baked within that. Okay, what is an exciting new project you are working on? I can't wait. What is an exciting new project? Oh, somnambulation, EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Thank you. I did not recognize that acronym, so I appreciate that. All right, so anything outside of the U.S. effectively. And Matt Barnes, holy cats, 1 second here. Matt Barnes, thank you so much. Are they assuming my genitals? How dare they? Yeah, I have to think that they are. Right? I have to think that they are. If they recruit somebody on the basis of, well, obviously you're a woman and we're trying to increase the number of women in our senior roles, they come along and say, wait a second, how dare you say that I'm a woman? Or how dare you say I'm not a woman in consideration for this? Right? Where is the line drawn in trying to make everybody happy all the time, but also being completely discriminatory? And I'm wondering if our speaker here is more free to express these things because the laws in London are different than those in America, where if she just sort of blatantly said, yes, we have a gender quota, and yes, we're going to hire or promote on the basis of your genitals, that might cause more problems in America than it would in London. I don't know. Anyway, what was your new project you're working on? Anytime
we are currently onboarding for a program called the DPRP.
The DPRP. Okay, well, at least it's not the DPRK. So what is the DPRP?
This is the Diverse Professionals Rotational Program.
Oh, the rotational program, right. So, yeah, okay, cross-training. You guys keep giving it a fancy name, but it's just cross-training. It's got nothing to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's just cross-training. It's professional development and cross-training. It's been going on forever.
It was piloted by our colleagues in the US last year. And following its success, they decided to replicate it in the UK. It is a 12-month rotational program with 2 6-month rotation across practices and segments.
Yeah, cross-training. Yeah, professional development and cross-training. Yeah, okay.
The objective of the DPRP is to have a program that supports attracting, retaining, and promoting diverse talent across FTI.
Yeah, okay. Great. What is the number one question? Sorry. They keep promoting this thing as though it's something revolutionary or insightful or whatever, and I'm just listening to it and without any further information. I mean, maybe there's something really special about it elsewise, but without any other information, the cursory level description just tells me you have a built-in cross-training program. Welcome to the club. I don't know what else to say about that. Okay, what is the number one question candidates ask about FTI Consulting's DI&B program? Yes, what is your number one question in London?
The number one question is, how is the progress going?
How is the progress going? Progress towards what? The 50% female inclusion at the top levels, that kind of thing?
Well, FTI is really committed to our DIB program.
Yes.
It's about culture change, and we know it doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't happen overnight. I thought this was like woven into everything FTI does. I thought it was like just a part of the air you breathe, effectively. It doesn't happen overnight. Well, what doesn't happen overnight? The 50% in the executive positions? Yeah, I guess you would have to build that over time by gradually filtering out candidates on the basis of their gender. Sure, probably takes time. Anything else?
Well, we do have senior support and sponsorship to enable and drive this change.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of enabling going on. I have no doubt about that. Oh, that's it. Okay, well. All right, well, that was number 5, and I believe this is our last segment for FTI Consulting's DI&B team, and this is Ricky Ford, Senior Director, DI&B, London, England. What are some DI&B initiatives going on in, what was it again? Europe, Middle East, Africa right now? Yes, what are the initiatives? Are they ERGs? Tell me they're ERGs.
Well, my two favourite would probably be UK Gender Pay Gap Town Halls.
UK Gender Pay Gap Town Halls. Okay, is there a gender pay gap in the UK? I'm relatively well versed in the US quote unquote pay gap, which isn't really a pay gap, but anyway, is there an actual pay gap in the UK? Are women by law or traditionally or otherwise paid less than men in the UK, or is it just that there is a disparity in the amount of money made per year between men and women based on other factors that have nothing to do with discrimination and have everything to do with personal choices, hours worked, and careers sought? But okay, town halls about pay gaps.
And corporate finance diversity workshops.
Corporate finance diversity workshops. What happens at a diversity workshop, I wonder? And I'm not being facetious. I have no idea. I mean, I could guess, but from company to company, entity to entity, who knows what they do?
So each segment leader is talking about their segment-based gender pay gap and actions they're taking to close those gaps. Secondly,
wait, actions they're taking to close those gaps in their segment. Well, I know it's a crazy thought. Why don't you just pay people in the similar jobs the same except that there is a mechanism for tenure, right? Like you've spent more year, like every year based on performance that you do a review on, someone may get an increase, right? So if somebody's been there for 5 years and has performed well, someone else coming in with the exact same job title as a first year is going to make less than the person that's been there 5 years. And I know this is crazy for this company to think about. And what if you did that without considering anything else about the person other than their performance, their skills, and their merits? I mean, it would kind of throw a wrench into the whole thing of elevating people to positions of authority in the company, first and foremost on the basis of their genitals. You know, I mean, you wouldn't want to create an internalized pay gap between the genders by artificially inserting people into jobs they're not qualified for and making those decisions on that. But you could just pay people the same, because I'm pretty sure, and I'm happy to be corrected, but even though the UK does not have the same constitution that the United States does, I'm pretty sure that at this point in time, they have several laws on the books that make it illegal for you to pay people differently simply on the basis of, say, their gender or their orientation or their race. So if there are pay gaps that exist, they might be there for a reason, like an understandable reason, a non-discriminatory reason. So how do you solve for pay gaps that aren't a result of an inequity? That'd be my question.
We have corporate finance diversity workshops. Every SMD and MD will go through diversity workshops covering 5 things. What do we mean by diversity, inclusion, and belonging?
That is a very good question. What do you mean by diversity, inclusion, and belonging? I would love to get some definitions. What constitutes a non-diverse candidate for a job? That'd be my first question.
Where is corporate finance currently at?
Where is corporate finance currently at? Okay.
What are microaggressions?
What are microaggressions? Someone's inability to grow a thicker spine. That's what microaggressions are. Someone who walks around with a chip on their shoulder over anything they may interpret as a slight and then run to HR to complain about. Someone who apparently never went through elementary school, high school, interacted with other children, and learned how to let something roll off their back and move on with their life. In most cases, you know, because if it's a microaggression, if we're not talking about someone comes up to your face and insults you, et cetera, and so forth, if it's a microaggression, it's probably a you thing and not a them thing.
And what are the impact of those on staff?
The impact on staff, whatever they choose for it to be, because offense is taken, never given.
How do we recognize those traits in ourselves, and how do we manage those traits?
Wait, what? Sorry, I got to back up a little bit.
Those traits.
Oh, sorry.
And what are the impact of those on staff?
Yeah.
How do we recognize those traits in ourselves?
How do we recognize those traits in ourselves? What traits?
And how do we manage those traits?
Recognize those, what?
And what can we do better?
Here's an idea. Explaining yourselves. That's what you can do better. If you're going to put out a series of promotional videos highlighting your DI&B program, providing definitions and explicit examples of what you're talking about, that's what you could do better. Collectively, not just this speaker, all of our speakers. Although our previous speaker, the lady from London, at least she opened up her presentation with something far more detailed than anybody else had provided us up to that point. What is your favorite part about being a member of FTI Consulting's DI&B team? Let's see. Helping people, working with people, being on the right side of history, creating an inclusive culture where everyone has a voice, something like that. I'm guessing.
But I would say working with people at all levels in the company.
Working with people.
From executive committee members, regional leaders,
Uh-huh.
and diversity ambassadors in offices,
Uh-huh.
to my colleagues across corporate functions.
Oh, that's it? Oh, I was hoping for something a bit more esoteric and Hallmark card. Oh, well. How important is DI&B to the culture of a company? Well, again, given that you have offices for this stuff across the world and several people employed to push it, I'm assuming you think it's pretty important.
One is very important when we speak to shareholders, clients, staff, and prospective staff.
Why?
Two.
No. Why? Why is it important? Okay, two.
When I look at our corporate and regional growth strategies,
Yeah.
how can we grow without nurturing our most scarce resources?
How can we grow without nurturing our most scarce resources? What are your most scarce resources? What? Again, there's something to be said when looking at stuff that a corporation puts out to promote itself in what both they say and what they don't say. Like somebody edited all of these things and someone approved all of these things. So this is the messaging they want the world to know about both the people involved in this program and the program itself. And it says something to me both, again, what is said, but also what is not said or what is withheld. I mean, who knows what everything was that all of these individuals said in their little recordings that we're not able to see because it was cut off or edited out or something. But okay, anyway, that's the messaging we're getting from FTI Consulting. Primarily, a whole bunch of terms and initiatives without definition or details of purpose, and a great implication, if not explication in one instance, that they are hiring and recruiting people and promoting internally on the basis of the person's aesthetic and not on their talent or skills or experience. Great. I wish I could say I was surprised. Anyway, that was the FTI Consulting segment of this broadcast. Let's move on to the segment from New Day. That's the name of the show, New Day, out of Seattle, about DEI stuff. That'll happen momentarily. And this one, I don't think there's any music I had to cut out. If suddenly it busts into a musical number, I might have to pause to make sure I don't get some kind of a copyright strike.
For many of us, our jobs are more than just a way to collect a paycheck.
I suppose. I mean, if you're doing something that is actively helping other people, like being a doctor or a social worker or, you know, somebody who sort of gives back or something, or it's your passion. I mean, certainly. Yeah. Okay.
Competitive pay is important, but building a workplace where employees feel validated and included is key.
Validated and included. Well, you see, I guess I come from the old school of if I do my job and I do it well and my supervisors and or boss approve that I'm doing my job and doing it well, the validation I receive is my paycheck. That might sound a bit too mercenary for some people, but like I say, maybe I'm just old school.
Lindsay Jackson, a diversity, equity, and inclusion professional, has just launched Sojourn, a DEI platform designed to help businesses keep the lights on while the employees can thrive. Well,
a platform to help business keep the lights on. Okay, so this is like an app or something?
Welcome back.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here every time I'm here.
Oh, we'd love to have you. The energy you bring is wonderful.
Oh, isn't this just nice? It's just nice to see people friendly with one another, you know, not instantly contentious and things. It's so nice.
So Sojourn, I know that this is a long time in the making. Tell me what it's all about.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, the team at LTHJ Global.
LTHG Global. Wait, what is that? The team at, sorry, LT what?
I mean, the team at LTHJ Global.
LTHJ Global. Okay. LTHJ Global. What is LTHJ Global? LTHJ Global. Diversity is the norm, not the exception. Okay. I'm reading from their website, by the way. I just went to lthjglobal.com. Let's see. Break down the barriers. Let people bring their best to work. Ready to bring your team an actionable diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy and break down the barriers to reaching their highest potential? Boy, howdy. Our consultants go beyond information gathering and training. LTHJ Global works alongside you to implement the findings and realize your strategic organizational success with DEI embedded throughout. Man, embedding DEI. It's my favorite. Okay. LTHJ Global
had really been listening to our clients for about 2 years. And a lot of them were saying, we want to keep our DEI work going, but
well, since the entire global thing is based around DEI in the first place, if they've already employed you to help them with their company, obviously they care about DEI. So why? Okay. And again, you have to remember there are a lot of companies out there right now who require their partner companies to have some kind of DEI initiative going on. It has become, in many ways, just a box to check on whether or not some companies and some investment entities will do business with companies. So the desire to, quote unquote, keep the DEI thing going is much less a choice now than it is a necessity for companies. It's reflexive to a certain degree. So that really doesn't say much to me, but then I'm, cynical, and I've been looking at this for several years.
we're scared that there's going to be a market downturn, that we're not going to be able to compete on salaries. And after many years of listening, really getting what it was that they were asking us for, we decided to build a tech platform.
Yeah, I think, and I'm happy to be corrected as we proceed, I think this harkens back to a panel discussion we looked at a couple of months ago where you had 4 or 5 DEI consultants, advocates, or whatever, sitting around a table. And their first concern was that many companies were downsizing because of the economy and because of their own corporate revenues. And one of the first things they looked at to cut in order to save money was their DEI initiatives, because they were looking at the numbers and realizing, as though it's a real stretch to do, that DEI isn't a profitable endeavor for a company. To have employees in the company, executives who are pulling a paycheck for DEI programs or initiatives, what exactly is their output? How are they increasing the bottom line? And the answer often is they're not, and these programs don't. And they can't justify the expense of a DEI program when everything else is coming due. So basically it sounds like, and again, happy to be corrected as we go, it sounds like this global consulting company was realizing they're about to lose money. And so they come up with a product that's an alternative that doesn't require someone to be employed, right? Or doesn't require a contract or a long-term one-off training or something, but instead we'll make a tech platform that you can subscribe to. So we have a consistent revenue stream, and you can say that you have a DEI program going on in your company. I know I'm being very cynical right now, but that's what the world has brought me to.
And so Sojourn is the first of its kind DEI tech platform built just for small and mid-sized business owners.
Well, and we are hearing that quite a few businesses are letting go the people part, the not just HR, but those that really are about culture and diversity.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense to pay for something that doesn't bring back a return. That's why. Are you going to go into that? Are you going to explain why they're doing that?
So this seemed to be what they were asking for.
Yes.
That kind of help?
Absolutely. A lot of people, when they shrink their budgets, HR, people operations, DEI are the first to go.
Why? Why? And specifically DEI, not just HR, but DEI is a separate entity, a separate philosophy. Why?
And yet, what we noticed were, of the millions of small business owners that really run our economy, a lot of them really wanted to do this work. They just couldn't afford it.
Right. They wanted to do this work. Why? I'm going to sound like a broken record during this thing. Explain why so many businesses want to, quote unquote, do this work, but can't afford to pay a full-time executive to show off they have a DEI program in place. Why?
They couldn't afford consulting, and as a consulting firm as well, we know that it prices out a lot of nonprofits, a lot of small businesses, but there are still millions of leaders that are passionate about this work.
Are they? Or again, like I've said, is it becoming a requirement in order to partner with certain companies and certain financial institutions for loans and other opportunities that you are able to say legitimately that you have an active DEI program taking place in your company? Are you going to address that at all?
And so Sojourn was our way to close that gap. Still do the work.
So give me a couple of examples, kind of real world examples of how you might help the small to mid-sized businesses.
Okay, thank you. All right, so a direct question, not a lot of prevarication. Yes, how? Give me examples.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One is that we use technology to mediate the relationship between the consultant or the DEI expert and the business owner who's a DEI champion, but we heard they were Googling for hours, didn't know what to do, where to start.
Wait, how does this platform work? Is it just a glorified Slack channel where like somebody who is a quote unquote DEI expert sits there and waits for a message to come in from a company and they just answer it and that's your consulting fee? Like, I'd love to see this platform in action or have some examples thereof.
Or they were afraid to make mistakes. And so Sojourn takes you step by step through the process, the same way a marketing tool might, think MailChimp or HubSpot, or is there an equivalent in this industry?
MailChimp. Every time I hear the name MailChimp, I only think of the Serial podcast for Adnan Syed. That's the only time I ever heard the MailChimp ads was listening to episodes of Serial. But okay, so you're all right.
In media, it's really breaking down the steps into my size initiatives, and then not only do we tell you what to do, but we've built all the tools for you to do it.
Such as?
So it's that they turn to you, and then you've got the platform that they need without having to build out those expensive.
Okay, well, what utility does the platform provide that merely sending me a PDF with a guide wouldn't? Because if it's just telling you what to do and then the tools to do it, I don't know what that means in the first place, but what does the platform do for a company that a simple printout of ideas and or initiatives doesn't?
Yes.
Tools.
Yes.
So we were talking about this earlier, but DEI is a term that is thrown around a lot. You see it in every job description. You see it when you go to a business's about page, even school districts. It's one of the first things you see when you open up a school district website. Yeah,
it is. It's very disturbing, especially when you look at exactly what that means and what they're doing to quote unquote achieve diversity. May I point you to the racial affinity groups being employed in elementary schools in certain segments of this country? Yeah, again, racial affinity groups in public schools.
But what does it really mean for successful businesses and employees that thrive?
Yes.
Yes. Give me some definitions. Definitions and examples and details, please.
DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes. Are you going to talk about belonging? Are you going to talk about justice? There was something else that somebody added not too long ago. Oh, what was it? Oh, there was another word somebody added on in just a video I did not too long ago, and it's suddenly escaping me because it's not used very often. I think it started with another E or something. I don't remember. Engagement? Maybe it was engagement. Maybe that was it.
And now you might hear it as Jedi
Jedi. No. Scientific American told everybody stop calling it justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion Jedi because that's too corporate and it's too tied to Star Wars. And obviously that's some kind of like alt-right conspiracy or something. No. You can't call it Jedi anymore.
Or DEIB or DBEI
Jedi.
or
DEBI. Wait. No. You're the first person I've ever heard call it DEBI. Wait, did I miss this? I have been championing DEBI for a couple of years now. I have never seen it used in that way. It's always DEIB. They always put the B at the end. It should be Debbie. Has somebody been using Debbie and I just didn't hear about it? Oh, well, okay. Props to our speaker, because as far as I can tell, and I haven't watched every diversity video in the world or something, but I've been watching dozens of these things for a couple of years now, and nowhere that I can recall has anybody ever called it DEBI. This is the first. This is a first.
Yes.
Very
And
Star Wars.
exactly. Which, hey, if we could get maybe post the death of the
You
star,
are the
whatever.
mouse star, right, there we
Yeah, if we could get post that. That's why nobody calls it Jedi anymore, unless they didn't get the memo from Scientific American.
Exactly. But DEI at its core means that we are looking to move closer to our stated values.
No, DEI at its core is that first one, diversity. How do you define diversity? And classically, diversity is anything that is not straight and or white and or male qualifies as a diverse element of a person's makeup, and those are the metrics you want to increase. The lowest bar to hit, of course, is gender diversity, because if it's not male, well, you only have one other option, right? But then you move into race and sexual orientation. Never religion. Rare is the day that they ever bring up religion, even though that religion sits in the same legal standing under the Constitution as race and gender and orientation. Equal footing, but somehow people aren't willing to discuss or bring up that subject, but people's race, who they sleep with, what their genitals are. Oh, that's perfectly fine. That's always fascinated me. They're not dealing with anything legally less outrageous than someone's religion when talking about these things. And yet, here we are.
Which are that we believe people should experience equality.
Equality? Well, then why isn't the E in DEI equality? It's equity. And equity has a completely different definition in this context. And
we're not there yet. And so DEI work is the work to close that gap.
No, it's not. It doesn't close any gap. It's not about equality. It's not. It's about inherent discrimination on the basis of aesthetics in order to, I don't know, make you guys feel better about how your company looks.
It's the work of equity.
Okay, well, then you're going to have to define your terms.
I like to use the example of a bathroom stall.
A bathroom stall.
We've all been maybe to a restaurant,
Yes.
to a bathroom. Equality would be that there's a bathroom stall that is wheelchair accessible. Every stall is in the bathroom and it's wheelchair accessible.
Okay.
Equity was the work to get one stall that is wheelchair accessible.
What? Wait. Equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity. Every bathroom stall versus one bathroom stall.
And so businesses operate like this too, that there are systems in place where we say we believe in equality, but we're still trying to drive equity.
What? Okay. Maybe it's just too early in the morning for my brain or something, but that analogy doesn't click for me. I need someone to clear that one up for me.
And Sojourn will help you drive that forward.
How? How? I want an example. Do you have a PowerPoint? Can you show us your platform in action or something?
So that whether it's a bathroom stall, whether it's your hiring practices, whether it's your promotion.
Whether it's your bathroom stall, your platform is going to help a company with their...
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
Okay, maybe... Again, maybe it's just too early in the morning for me. Maybe my brain's somewhere else. I don't know. But equality is every bathroom stall is wheelchair accessible. Equity is one bathroom stall is wheelchair accessible. But DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So you're promoting having only one bathroom stall wheelchair accessible rather than all bathroom. I have lost the plot. I have lost the plot. Okay, let's Renovatio wants to give it a shot here. Okay, there were 10 bathroom stalls. Now there are 5 because you demanded all of them be wheelchair accessible, so you made them wider. Now less people can pee. Well done. Yeah, I guess I. Okay.
Maybe it's how people are treating one another in the workplace.
Well, how does your platform address how people are treating each other in the workplace? You're not there. The whole idea is that you are giving this company, I don't know, a chat program or a glorified PowerPoint presentation that they have to subscribe to. What does your platform do? Walk me through the user experience of your platform. What services do you provide through your platform that is affordable to small businesses that isn't actually hiring a consultant?
And how we learn together, that's what we built Sojourn to do.
Well, how?
I think sometimes there's this idea that we get in our heads that DEI is only for BIPOC or only for a certain group.
Only for BIPOC or only for a certain group. Okay, first off, BIPOC has nothing to do with groups. It has everything to do with demographics. Demographics are not groups. I have harped on this for years. I will continue to do so. Everyone of a similar skin color is not part of the same club. I don't know if you know that, but it is about putting people into groups and considering them to be groups as stereotypes. Certain people need a hand up because they are what they are, and obviously they can't make it on their own, so we have to give them special consideration because obviously they need assistance. Right? It's the quote-unquote soft bigotry of low expectations. That's what this entire thing is built on. It's not about someone's skills and ability. It's first and foremost about their aesthetic and the assumption that A, if we don't help them because of their obvious disability of their aesthetic, no one will, and we need to give them a hand up. And B, we have corporate diversity quotas we need to fill in order to look appropriate to the general public and those entities who might be wanting to invest with us or to make themselves look good and progressive by investing in a company that has such a robust diversity, equity, and inclusion program where we hire people and promote people on the basis of elements that in any other context should probably get us slapped with a federal lawsuit. But okay, yeah, it's just about these groups.
When the message is DEI is for everyone.
No, it's not. It's literally not. DEI is not for everyone. It is for discrimination. That is all that it does. Again, you can add as many extra terms as you want to the acronym. You can add equity and inclusion and belonging and engagement and justice and whatever else, but you're never going to escape that core first step that diversity promotes. And diversity in this context is about discriminating who you're hiring, who you're promoting. That's it. That's it. And not discrimination on merit. No. Discrimination on aesthetic, on look. You're never going to get away from that, as much as you guys try to.
You want to work in a company, right?
Yes.
With these kinds of values. And
no, I don't. I don't want to work in a company with the value of assessing people on the basis of non-determinative factors of their merit. I don't, but I'm just a rarity, I guess. Also, I'm fortunate in that I work in a company where that isn't a factor in the first place, thankfully.
Thinking this way.
Absolutely. I mean, businesses that do not do this work, it'll be like lean principles. We will not see them anymore. It'll be like Kodak. When's the last time you pulled a Kodak camera out of your pocket?
When was the last time Okay, do you have any idea as to why Kodak went out of business? Okay, so Kodak went out of business because of a lack of diversity? In the sense that you're talking about diversity. That's why Kodak went out of business? Or I shouldn't say went out of business. The brand still exists, but it's not the market juggernaut that it used to be. There's a great documentary series. I hope I'm getting this correct because it's been a while. I believe the YouTube channel is called Bright Sun Films. And Bright Sun Films does this series called Bankrupt, where they do these mini documentaries on major bankruptcies or, corporate collapses and things like that. And I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to misattribute this, but I believe that Bright Sun Films did a documentary on Kodak within the last couple of years and goes through chapter 11 and verse of what happened with that company. So for her to bring up Kodak as an example of what happens if you don't have a diversity, equity, and inclusion program, sorry, I just recently watched this and it told me a lot more about what went on at Kodak over the years, and it has nothing to do with DEI. Come on.
Smart business leaders understand that diversity, equity, and inclusion is what people are looking for. Millennials are asking in the interview.
Millennials don't know half the time what they're talking about. Thank you, Matt Barnes. Technically, yes, it was the diversity of phones with cameras that did it in. So technically, well, it was not adopting or becoming the forefront in digital photography. And actually staying away from digital photography because they feared then they wouldn't sell any more film for their cameras. That's this very simplistic version of it. They had a device that could take pictures digitally years and years before it became super popular and ubiquitous, but they avoided putting any money into it or promoting it because they saw it as them sort of, cutting their own throats effectively. When if they had, then they'd probably be still in business and still doing gangbusters today. So it was one of those sort of like, hindsight's 2020 situations. But yeah, they were not able to diversify their vision of their products. That is true. If you want to talk about diversity in its actual definition, certainly, but not in the way that our speaker's talking about. So it's bizarre to me that she brought up that, unless she is trying to align her version of diversity with a version of actual diversity in thought, in vision, and so on, and trying to glorify what she's doing along the same lines of what actual innovation or diversity of thought means. I suppose that could be what she was trying to do there, but either way.
Tell me what your DEI practices are. Tell me how you're going to keep me safe.
Yes, millennials, how are you going to keep me safe? And you look at him, you say, sir and or ma'am, this is not a daycare. Conceivably, you are a grown adult and you can take care of yourself. This place is not a gladiatorial arena. We do not run Thunderdome here. If someone says or does something that is out of line, certainly go to HR, but what? Why would somebody come into a company and automatically assume that they're not safe? What does that mean? I'd love to know what that's supposed to mean. Derek LaRue, thank you so much, as always, for your continued support and generosity. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a good Sunday so far. Also, hello, Lexi Mads. as I'm seeing in the chat now. See, guys, when I'm watching the video, I have to be in a different tab than what the chat is. So that's why I don't often see things until after I've taken a pause or something. So I'm not actively ignoring chat. It's just the limitations of technical stuff most times. So that's why. So speaking of which, let me real quick. JMK, good morning. Miranda Stone, good morning. Who else is here? Data Wasteland, good morning. And did I miss anybody else? Probably. Did I already say good morning to Robert Pincus, if I didn't already? Payar D. Bayar, good morning. And again, if I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future. And Lexi Mads, of course. Can we start over, though? I mean, it has been a while.
This is the Sunday stream opening song because the other song is copyrighted. La 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 la. Oh, look, here comes Dog Cat Fox.
Hi, Sky.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday stream. The stream I do on Sundays because Sunday is the day to stream. On Matt Barnes, speak for yourself. Who runs Bartertown? Matt Barnes. Who rules Underworld? Matt Barnes. That's right. In the post-apocalyptic future of Tina Turner the Queen, Matt Barnes will be the one in charge. Thank you, Matt Barnes. One man enters, a scrambled brain on DEI leaves.
They know in an information economy that they are valued and that they are needed.
Only if they bring value to the company through their work ethic and their skills. I need to know that I'm valued and needed. And I'd say, grow up. If you do your job correctly and well, you will be paid. That is how you are valued here. This is a job, not a daycare. This is a potential career, not a support meeting. I'm just old, crotchety, and old-fashioned. What can I tell you? When I hear stuff like this, I would be befuddled. I would be befuddled if someone brought this stuff up in an interview for a job that I was interviewing for. Like, we're here to make sure you feel validated and needed. And I'd be like, did I enter the wrong room? I'm here for a job, not a social worker.
And so they have a lot to play with. And similarly, learning how to do this work, like you said, is going to benefit everyone.
Unfortunately, she's correct. Unfortunately, she's correct because learning how to do DEI work is actually a very lucrative business strategy these days. It might be more refined now. The barriers for entry might be getting more, let's say, girthy as time goes on and competition weeds out those that can't keep up. But, and especially with companies cutting their budgets and reducing considerations for DEI investment and so on. But if you can hang out a shingle and call yourself a DEI consultant, up until perhaps just the last couple of years or so, you could have made a killing, really, because they were just desperate to be able to say, we have a in-house DEI officer, or we have an active DEI program, so they can show off to everybody else just how progressive they are. And to hit that checkbox, again, for certain companies that require such things to be taking place in companies that they will partner with.
Right. Healthy employees, healthy company. Thank you so much. We always learn so much when Lindsay joins us.
No, wait, that's it? We didn't learn it. What does the platform look like? What does it do? What does it offer a small business that you couldn't just go online and look up, give me strategic DEI plan? Or hell, at this point, you could go to ChatGPT and say, outline for me a comprehensive diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy for my widget business. And it wouldn't be able to pump out something that would be just as informative and effective as anybody you'd be paying thousands of dollars in salary to as a DEI officer. We didn't learn anything.
And she's even agreed to stick around for hot topics.
Well, that didn't show up on the stream or the piece, so there you go. No Hot Topics. Man, remember when Hot Topic used to be a cool store? I remember you walk in there and it was like goth gamer wonderland. And then something changed. Of course, I'm talking about like the mid 90s and the early 2000s. Boy, oh boy. And when you were playing a live action role playing game of Vampire the Masquerade, oh man, Hot Topic. If you needed something for dress up, first place you went was either Hot Topic or Goodwill, because Goodwill's always a great place for costuming. Anyway, that's it, guys. There's our FTI consulting panoply of D, I, and B team members, and then our segment from New Day in Seattle from a global consulting firm that is having to diversify their product offerings because so many companies are cutting their budgets and reducing how much money they're willing to put aside into a program that is effectively a wood thresher or wood chipper for their money, because it brings them nothing. If it did, they'd continue investing in it. So now HTJ whatever Global has made a platform that we don't know what it does, we don't know what it looks like, we don't know what the user experience is, and we don't know what the price point is to make up for what nobody's hiring them for now. I understand the need to have a survivability in your company and in your products. It would have been nice to know more about what was going on there. But anyway, a couple other things from you guys before I wrap things up. Lexi Mads, companies are firing DEI departments. The bubble has burst now. I'm too late. Yeah, like I say, the barrier for entry is far more difficult now than it was just a couple of years ago, because the economy has retracted. A lot of companies, especially the big tech firms, are having big losses and having to make big consolidations of their business because they got too bloated. A lot of companies bet on the idea that the amount of digital purchasing that was taking place during the pandemic would just go on forever, that this would be the new norm. And so they charted out their business priorities and their projects thinking that, and it didn't pan out that way. Facebook, or Meta, being one of the biggest examples of that. And now, yes, things are contracting back, the bubble burst, and DEI is going by the wayside. And again, the one thing I am waiting for, this is the biggest one, is what happens when the affirmative action case goes up and a decision is made by the Supreme Court. I am very curious to see if the Supreme Court rolls back or makes illegal effectively or unconstitutional affirmative action in schools, since the rhetoric to justify affirmative action is almost, when I listen to it in the oral arguments for the Supreme Court on this case, the oral arguments for affirmative action are so similar, if not exact duplicates, of the arguments I've heard for DEI. If affirmative action becomes unconstitutional, I cannot wait to see what effect that has on the DEI apparatus and industry in this country. It'll be very interesting to see. Very morbidly curious. Let's see. Derek LaRue, DEI is a waste of time and money. As currently practiced, it certainly is. And it promotes an idea and a philosophy within a corporation and within society in general that is regressive, not progressive. And it boggles my mind every time, just like we saw with the lady from London in our FTI consulting clips, how she comes out and says, we have a 50% gender quota we're aiming for. And like, well, what then do you have to do to reach that quota? What is a necessary mechanism in your decision-making process to reach that quota? Is that progressive? Is that effectively anything different than what we've been hearing about for years about it's a boys' club, the patriarchy, people making decisions on the basis of your gender and not your abilities, right? And let's see. I think... Oh, somebody mentioned Hot Topics by Jim Gaffigan. Oh, did Jim Gaffigan do a Hot Topic song? I must have missed that one. And Data Wasteland, there's a South Park about Hot Topic, Scribbles. Is there? See, I'm not the South Park fan that Ranting Monkey is. Ranting Monkey is a super duper South Park fan. So if you want to talk South Park, definitely talk to Ranting Monkey, who apparently is or was streaming at the same time I was doing this, which I'm very upset about. And I'm going to have words with him. Probably words like, how are the grandkids doing? Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this DEI cornucopia and potpourri across different parts of the world, from Washington, D.C. to London and back to Seattle again, to see what people are thinking or promoting or trying to sell of themselves in active discriminatory practices in their businesses. Sorry to put that on a down note, but that's the way it is. Later this afternoon, I'll be off and running with Sister Scribe to see Cocaine Bear. Will I do a movie review after I get home? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends if there's anything to say about it that I can't just put into a tweet. But if you are curious about my movie reviewing skills, I just did one yesterday, a live stream on the Netflix movie, We Have a Ghost. I had a lot to say. Less to say in the amount of time than it took to watch the movie, however, which may save you a little sanity if you're curious. But either way, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. In fact, speaking of moderators, how about, and I know I should have done this earlier, but how about I give out a link, a limited time link to join my Discord. Yes, I have a Discord now for the Scribe Light channel, and the link I'm putting in the chat right now is good for 1 day. And if you decide to join the Discord, you'll show up on a little channel that's a little landing channel called Say Hello. And if I recognize, or if the moderators recognize your nickname as a regular audience member, great. But just to be sure that everybody knows that you watched the show today to qualify to join the Discord, because it's a real secret, exclusive club. Today's password, today's secret word to join the Discord is, how about Debbie? DEBI. Just put DEBI in capital letters into the Discord. And if you're not already a member of the Discord, you'll become a member of the Discord. So there you go. Moving on. Everybody who donated, either to myself or to the fundraisers pinned to the top of the chat box, thank you guys so very much for your generosity. I really do believe it. I do believe it. I also appreciate it. But that aside, everyone, please, I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday and the rest of your weekend. I hope you have a good week ahead of you. I hope you are all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.